So earlier this week, after a win against the Pistons, Skip tweeted, "The best player on the planet was at it again tonight in Brooklyn, going assassin in overtime for the COVID rock Nets. Nothing like Kevin Durant. You watch, Bron?" Well, KD saw this on his timeline, replied, quote, "I really don't like you." Skip, your response to KD.
Shannon Sharpe.
Yep.
When I first heard of this yesterday, I laughed, and then I laughed some more, because Kevin Durant has tried to do this to me several times before, dating back to 2012. And this time, I'm sorry, Kevin, I'm not going to take your bait. I'm not going to fall into the trap you want me to fall into, because this is what you need and what you want. What have I said about Kevin Durant from the start? He can be as strange off the court, especially on social media where he's had burner accounts before, as he is great on the court. And dare I say, it occurred to me, Shannon, last night that this weird strategy of Kevin's is, dare I say, Jordanesque, because what do we know about Michael Jeffrey Jordan? He constantly fabricated beefs with rival players and coaches that didn't even exist to whip himself into a competitive frenzy before games. Well, that's what's operating here with Kevin, because, and again, I do think he's on his way to becoming the greatest player we've seen since Michael Jordan. But what did I learn back in 2012 when he took his first shot at me and just blindsided me? That he needs to motivate himself by creating some sort of controversy, this feud with media members, especially those who actually love him the most. And I dare say, I dare you to find anybody in the media who since 2006 have supported and backed and loved Kevin Durant more than I have. Can you find anybody? Would you know anybody out there? You won't. I say nothing negative about him except the off-the-court, bizarre, strange social media behavior, which is completely beneath his dignity, because he is the thinnest-skinned superstar I've ever seen. But the reason I don't condemn him for it is because he uses that weirdly to fuel himself in the biggest of games and on the biggest of stages against LeBron in those back-to-back finals in Game 3s in LeBron's palace. Kevin Durant took the game over. He won Finals MVP with the weight of the NBA world on his shoulders, with everybody wanting him to fall on his face because he left Russell Westbrook high and dry in Oklahoma City after they had a 3-1 lead over those Golden State Warriors. He went and joined forces with them. I didn't have any problem with that. What I had a problem with starting back in 2012 was, and again, I'm from Oklahoma City, so I know all about the Thunder. I know a lot of people inside the organization. In 2012, Russell Westbrook was starting routinely to take more shots in games than Kevin Durant. And it drove me crazy, because I had said back to his year at Texas in 2006, I was on Cold Pizza, and I regularly said on national TV, this kid at Texas is going to win multiple NBA scoring titles. And they laughed at me. Jay Crawford and Woody Page and other people on the show just laughed at that kid, that skinny. Yeah, wait and watch and see. Well, I think I was proven right about that. And that night in 2012 that Kevin Durant heard what I'd said that day on First Take, 2012, he calls over the Oklahoma City reporter from the Oklahoman and blasts me, saying, I don't know anything about basketball, because I was saying that Russ was taking more shots than Kevin, and I did not like it. Help me out. Why ultimately did Kevin leave Oklahoma City? One reason and one reason only: Russell Westbrook. Am I right? Mm-hmm. So what has been our constant theme on this show for 6 years? Have I not said that for at least the last 4 years, Kevin Durant is the best player on the planet? How many times have I told you that on this show, right? Mm-hmm. Was my tweet the other night glorifying Kevin to the heavens, right? I can't heap any more praise on him, but guess what? Kevin can't stand that. He hates it that I love him too much because it scares him. It shakes him up. He needs fuel. He needs to create a controversy, a drama. He needs a feud with me to fuel him in big games. And we have a big one coming up on Christmas Day here at Staples Center against your Los Angeles Lakers. So he wants to bite the hand that feeds him. He wants to have me firing back at him to motivate him, and I'm not going to do it this time. I did it last time in 2012. I was hurt by that. I went on TV that day and said, Kevin, how could you do that to me of all people? I'm only supporting you. Well, guess what? I still believe he's the best player on the planet. I still believe he's edged ahead in the MVP race right here, right now, and I'm going to stand by what I said. I'm going to love him to death. It was so ironic because MJ loved me for loving him. He loved that. And to this day, he respects me because from the start, I defended MJ when I was in Chicago at the Chicago Tribune. Kevin is the flip side of that.
What was there to defend about MJ?
Well,
he was great. He never made a mistake.
A lot of people
he never lost the game.
A lot of people didn't like the way he handled himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have never guessed that about Last Dance. But go ahead.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, that's what did I have any trouble with The Last Dance? No, and I was way ahead of that curve when I was in Chicago writing about it. No problem with any of this off the court stuff, okay? Or how he motivated his team and how he treated his teammates. Okay, so you ask, I answer.
Okay.
So now I'm going to heap nothing but more praise on Kevin because I don't need his silly feuds to motivate Kevin because I don't think he really needs any more motivation. I think he's the best player in the world, period, without me or you or anybody else that he has attacked in the media. We go talking about LeBron James versus Kevin Durant for best player on the planet. So if I'm tweeting at night, everything is in the context of Undisputed. Trust me, Kevin Durant watches Undisputed. He knows what the pet theme, the central theme of the show is. Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James. What am I going to tweet? You watch this, LeBron? Because that was a sensational display. They were down to 4 rookies playing with Kevin Durant, and even you agreed with me on the show yesterday. That was an MVP-type performance, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why wouldn't I tweet that? We pit them against each other every single day for the last 4 years on this show.
Yes.
That's all we do. We have talked about those two against each other more than any two against each other in all of our time. I said, I give you this, Kevin. I respect the fact that you're trying to protect your little brother on your team. Okay. And they were going strong at that point, but more and more as the year wore on, Russell ended up taking more shots that year than Kevin did. It was wrong, and Kevin knew I was right about it. And I resented the fact that he said I don't know anything about basketball because I didn't play, because the guy who put the team together and who picked them, a guy named Sam Presti, did he play basketball at a high level? I don't think so, right? Okay. So all the guys who put these teams together, Daryl Morey and R.C. Buford, they didn't play basketball, right? So what do they know? They must not know anything either. So my point was I right in the end about what I said about Russ versus Kevin Durant?
Yes.
I was dead right.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.